The chill and cozy vibe had me fooled.
I have 2 bottles. One is for cold water. The other? It's coffee.
This game gets brutally hard after a while. No, dude. You will have no idea where to jump next, and it turns into sliding off the edge to your death simulator. No! I don't even know why I didn't connect to the wall there. Oh my God. Wait, what? What do I do? So one of the main reasons that I bought this game to play was because of that Steam review that I seen, because that guy or girl said it was challenging or difficult, and you know I like a good challenge. So today we're going to be checking out MotorSlice. This is my first time playing this game. No guides, no research, just raw gameplay and my honest reaction. If you've seen this game on your timeline and you're thinking about picking it up, I'll break it down whether it's actually worth your time or if you should just keep your money. So one of the first things I noticed about the gameplay was that the controls weren't really the smoothest that I've played. They weren't the worst, but there is room for improvement with how the controls could feel, because this is like a platformer. It definitely gives the vibe of Mirror's Edge. I don't know if you've played that, but it was a great game in its day. The game sometimes does not want to do what you intend it to do, like latching onto walls. There is a feature called MotorSlicing, the title, which is basically you take the chainsaw into one of the like yellow highlighted fixtures or parts of the map to traverse, and you essentially press the attack button to connect to it, and then you can just like ride the wall essentially. But sometimes it doesn't always connect. One thing I actually like about this game is that it doesn't feel brain dead easy. There is a bit of a learning curve, which I really didn't expect. There are moments where it feels like the game is fighting you instead of challenging you, i.e. the controls. Bro, what? Why would you jump over the rail? Moving on as to how the game looks, the graphics, the style, the vibe is not anything groundbreaking. Some parts look clean, but other parts look like they forgot to finish rendering the game. Now, I do anticipate moving on to different sections to see what is in store for the platforming and how they might switch up what the area looks like and what you need to interact with. But the general consensus is you're gonna jump from a platform, maybe to a beam. You might motor slice into a wall to traverse up, down, or around an object. I definitely think the colors could have been brighter, or they could have added a little bit more detail into the world. Not gonna lie to you, the atmosphere just looks blurry in my opinion. The overall vibe to this game is kind of forgettable. The story isn't compelling. You're not really drawn to the character, but with some of the interactions that you, the orb, has with the character P, there's definitely a very specific target audience for this game, and outside of the traversing, I'm probably not part of that target audience. Okay, so both of these choices.
Look away, bot.
So the sound design is surprisingly good. From the menu music to the combat encounters, the audio actually is very pleasing to listen to. I don't know if you are the type that likes to listen to music while you're playing your games, you know, casual games, competitive games, or whatever, but this game definitely provides a ear-pleasing soundtrack in my opinion. As far as immersion, you could really go without listening to the game. When you hear the combat music, that's when you know that you should have enemies in your area that you need to defeat. If you don't hear the combat music, you're pretty much fine. Overall, I think the music fits the game. There's nothing crazy going on. It's very simple, but they could have added a bit more sound quality details to the enemies and just the general ambience of the world. All right, so getting to the nitty gritty, what actually annoys me about this game is that the controls and the general feel of the game could be more polished. The game spikes in difficulty dramatically as you go from chapter to chapter without really any kind of explanation of what could be about to pursue you in the coming chapters. Now, I personally don't mind that it doesn't really hold your hand as you guide your way through the different levels, but I know, you know, a more casual player, a newer player to platformers in general will get discouraged and will probably not want to continue playing this game and definitely not recommend the game to any of their peers. There are sections in the platforming where you're going to be wondering if you messed up or if the game is just buggy, and that is something that needs to be addressed in further iterations of this game. Maybe they will come out with patches to fix certain bugs and issues, or maybe it's just intended for the controls to kind of be unpolished. The other thing that needs to be improved on this game is the story. It's definitely not something that I'm going to remember after I finish the game, if I even finish the game. If they implement some kind of, you know, story that the player can latch on to, and if it's something the player can talk amongst their peers about, that's a really good way to retain the community of the people that actually will play this game. And before I move on to what I actually really like about the game, I did want to mention that there are some of these really long bridges that you have to run across to get to like the next area or chapter, and it's super redundant. You can MotorSlice across, which is faster than running, but it's still like, what's the point of these bridges even being so long? To move on to what I actually like about the game, first, when the game works, it actually feels really good. The platforming isn't as bad as I make it out to be. It does need work, but you definitely can see the potential that the game has underneath all of its flaws. What I really like about the gameplay loop and the platforming in itself is the idea of the motor slicing, using the chainsaw or whatever it's called to kind of traverse around, you know, certain walls and areas, and then having to, you know, wall run and jump and move from platform to platform. That is a really cool idea. I really do believe there's a solid idea underneath this game's general gameplay and all of its flaws. If they can add to the storyline, make it a bit better, improve the graphics even just a little bit, and then polish the mechanics of the platforming and general controls, I could see this game actually becoming something bigger than it is. All right, so the big question that led us up to this moment, should you play MotorSlice? If you are somebody that's into that weird anime interaction kind of gameplay or storytelling, this is probably a game for you. If you get tilted easily and you don't really like platforming a lot, this is not the game for you. But above all, I would probably say wait for updates. Definitely a get it on sale kind of game, even though it's actually much cheaper than any AAA title that you're going to pay for. It is really close to being something good and memorable if they can just improve upon the things that I spoke of in this video. Let me know what you guys think. Have you played MotorSlice yet, or are you waiting to see how it turns out? If you want to see more first impressions or general gameplay of new games coming or old games that I may not have played yet, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, I'm probably going to keep playing this just to see if it gets better or drives me insane. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I try to post videos every day. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.